and welcome. In today's video, we are going to give this pedal here a facelift. This is the D. Ross Distortion. It's a kit and it's from Music D. And I built this 2 years ago? I don't actually remember. Anyway, I gotta be honest with you, this is not one of my favorite, neither one of my favorite projects, or one of my favorite videos, or one of my favorite pedals. It's mostly just fallen to the wayside and been left in a drawer, waiting for me to figure out what I want to do with it. And so in today's video, we're gonna take the electronics out of this, and we're gonna put it into this, which is a really big pedal board, kind of a pedal. I have a crazy idea that I want to experiment with, and I need a pedal to be the main circuit in this, and so I was thinking we'd throw this thing in there. But first, I have to show you how I made this, because maybe you want to build something like this, and maybe you want a little bit of inspiration. You can use this just as a pedal board, you know, and put in some like passive controls, you know. Quick disclaimer, this was made for another project. The little Rebel amp I wanted to build into a weird crazy pedal thing, but I couldn't get it to be quiet enough for it to work without doing some real crazy modification things, and I just didn't feel like doing all of that, so I made it into a little amp instead, and we're gonna use this instead. So let's roll the part where I built this weird cool thing that I hope you like. Bent metal and everything, it's really cool. And then when we come back, we'll take this apart and just put it in. We'll have some other cool controls as well. So yeah, let's go! Okay, so here I have a piece of wood, and I'm gonna use this template that I drew out to cut out a piece of wood and make this side thing. And first I'm just gonna make one, and I'll try to make it perfect. And then I'm gonna use that as a template to cut out two more, because we need 3 pieces that look like this. And then we're going to take the one in the middle, once we have all 3, and we're going to cut this middle bump thing here that I'm drawing out right now, and we're going to cut that off from the middle piece. So we only needed 2 with this bump here. Let's see if we can get this out. Now I can use this as a template, and all I need to do is draw with a thicker pen around like this. And now I can cut this out with a jigsaw, and I can clean it up with a router and just do it super easy like that. And I'll just do that twice, because I need 3 pieces. So I had a bit of an accident, as you can see right here, but that's okay, because one of these we need to modify and just cut a straight line like this. So we just put a ruler along this line here, like so, and then we just fill in down like so, and then we know what we need to cut. There we go! And now it looks like this. I'm just going to do a little bit of cleanup. That's basically all there is. The idea is one over here, one over there, and this in the middle, so that it's structurally sound. And now I'm just gonna cut out a piece of wood that fits right there. Here I have a piece of wood, and I need to do a round over on it. I've cut out 2 of these. This is gonna be the top. I decided to go with thicker because then I can screw things into them, and I hope that's gonna be good. Now the reason why I need a round over like this is because I need to match it up with this corner right here, so I can get a good fit. And as you can probably tell, I'm almost there. Just need to adjust this a little bit. I can get down there. Okay, we got a little bump there. I should have been more careful. That's not going to look good. Final product, but it's going to have to do. That's a shame. So the next thing we need to do is we take the measurement of this, its thickness, which is 15, and we divide that in half. So now we can take that measurement and we can do a mark on all sides here, like this. So, and then we can connect these. So, just draw a line. We'll erase this line a little bit later, and then we'll hold this up to here, just to make sure, yeah, that's about middle. Now, let's go with 2. Maybe? Is 2 enough? Yeah, 2 is enough. So, 2 centimeters in each, and make a little mark on the line, like that. And then we take our awl, and we make a mark on the line where the other line meets. So in the crisscross section, like that. Now, jump over to the drill, and we drill these 4 holes. So now we take just one side and we line up the round over and we press it into place and we put in the screw gently so that it fits. Something like that. We take the other one. Something like that. And now, you see how it's starting to get there. Now I'm going to take these screws out and apply glue and screw them back down again. So, yeah, you don't have to see that. Just put on some glue. Okay, so while we wait for that to dry, we take the middle here, which is here, and we draw a line here, like so. Then we take our same measurement as we did here, and we add that here as well. There, and there. And we take our all, and then we drill those as well. Alright, so, in order to screw this down, which is going to be a little bit problematic, we are going to have to do something clever. This is a basic woodworking skill. It's just a little hack that I think everyone who works with wood knows. But you have your two screws on your center line here, and I have them sticking just enough so that I can prick myself on them. And I'm going to put this down like this. I'm going to take two scrap pieces of wood just to balance it a little bit, so it's not balancing on the actual screws. And you can't see, but I've measured out and marked where the center line on this is. It's right down there. And it's right down here. Now I need to also have something here, because otherwise I'm in trouble. Like that, maybe. I'm gonna hold it up to this center line here first, make a mark on each side, something like that. Do the same on this side, and then I'll push it up against this piece of wood, center it up with that, center it up with my markings. It's all centered, and when I'm 100% sure, I'll just press on this. So, and I got the first one to be a little bit of an indentation right there, but I didn't feel like I got the second one. So I'm gonna redo that, like that. There we have it. Now, we can take these screws out, or at least we can take one out. Place it on this mark. You know, the thing I said you guys don't need to see. Oh, now you get it. Push those two in. And see, that looks perfect. Alright, so before we leave this to dry, let's do a round over on the back here. I'm going to leave the glue to dry now, and then I'm going to take care of these ugly looking screws, because we can't have that. Okay, so now it's dried long enough for me to stain it. So I'm going to put some of this stain on it. Did I brush it off? No! I'm keeping that in the video. I don't know. We should have used a bigger brush anyway. Okay, so I was almost about to forget this, but we need to drill a hole here. So I'm going to take my template that I made, and I'm going to try to line it up to the best of my abilities, something like that. And I'm going to pick a place, somewhere like there maybe, and I'm going to make a little hole in my template, like so. And I'm going to flip this over, like so. And I'm going to take my template and I'm going to line it like so. And I'm going to mark this as well. And there we go. So now I'm going to drill here. And I'll do that on the other side as well. I'm going to put this ring into the wood as a safety thing so that the jack doesn't compress the wood and slowly deforms. So, just even out the space. Just put this here and see. We need to go a little bit deeper. All I need to do is copy this around over so that this fits in there. I think that would be good. Alright, so here we go. It's almost perfect. There is a little bit of a gap around which you most likely can tell, but I'm going to be taking this on and off, so that's a good thing. Something like that. Okay, so the battery died in the middle of filming that, but all I did was that I screwed it down, as you can see, and then I put on a little bit of stain to just mash it up with everything else so that it all looks good. Alright, so it might be hard to see, but here we have a wooden plug, the kind you use in a lot of woodworking, and if you look real close you can see it's sort of rounded over. Not in a particularly nice way, but anyway, I cut the tip off, making it perfectly flat and even, on 6 of these. And now we can put them into the enclosure, or the board, or whatever you want to call it, and hopefully that can help us make it look nicer. Alright, so we have a metal sheet now that we need to cut the size to cover this, and to do so we need to measure. So if I hold this over the edge and I push it into this corner there, and I go down here, we are at 16. So I'm gonna take this that I've squared up and trued up and all that, and we're gonna do a measurement from here. Let's see where 16 is. It's right down here. So let's take some of this thicker masking tape and put it right here somewhere. Along those lines. So we just take a ruler and we line up those two, and we draw a line like so, and we just measure again to make sure that, so that we know we get the same. Yeah, 16, 16, 16, and 16 to cut on this line, leaving the line on the inside so I can sand it. I'll show you how I do it. Alright, here I have it, and you can see the edge is really sharp now, and so before I do anything, because I don't want to hurt myself, I'm just gonna quickly knock that off. Alright, there we go. Now I take a piece of sandpaper like this. This is 60, and I hold it taut and I just run it back and forth like this. And because this is flat and this is going up against something flat, and I cut this almost perfectly, I can't imagine that I got it to be 100% because I'm not that good with a grinder, but yeah. Now it's going to turn out nice. So here we are now, and it's time to bend this plate to the shape that we need it to be. So it goes in this little crevice here. Yeah, when you saw the rest of the video you might think that I didn't think about that, but the truth is I did. I actually did. Let's put this here. Press it up against this and see if we can clamp this down. Okay, so here we have some metal paint, and you can get it at the hardware store. There's nothing special, you can get it anywhere, and I'm not even sure it's the best thing to use, but I have it on hand and we can't keep this grey look, so you know, we only really have one option, which is not really an option. I think I want the switches down here, almost at the end of the tape. Burrs on the inside from when we drill the holes. It's not a very pretty thing to see, but it's on the inside. So who cares? Hi, and welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that part of the video, because it's over now. Nothing we can do about it. I mean, you can rewatch the video, and I encourage you to do so. But anyway, let's jump over here to this pedal and see if we can take it apart. We have a couple of screws on the back. Let's hope that they haven't rusted shut. And there we have it now, it's all out. So we need to do a little bit of modifications to this board, because as you might remember, we have some parts laying around in here that I don't want in there anymore. So last time we were in here, what we did was a video on experimenting with changing out the clipping diodes. These two things right here, you can see the markings right there. That's where the clipping diodes used to be. And now we have these wires holding some parts in place. And I never did anything more with it. Obviously, if you guys want me to, I can come back into this later on and we can experiment with something more, putting something fun in here. But I think that when it comes to this particular circuit, we've sort of moved away from that and we're going to do something else. What we're going to do is we're going to remove these and put something else in there. And what we're going to put in there are LEDs. I think that will be the closest we can get to a sort of amp sound, and the closest we can get to a breaking up sort of amp sound is doing an asymmetrical clipping. So we will sort of have a little bit of a tweaking of this kit and changing its sound just a little bit. So if you're into the experimental videos that I've made, then you're sort of getting a little bit of experimental again. Here we have red LEDs, which is what we're going to use. And we need 3 of them, and we need to take 2 of them. I'm going to take my helping hand. I hope you saw the video where I showed you that I have fixed my helping hands, because, yeah, I did. So we take an LED like this, and take another LED like this one, and we take one of the longer legs and one of the shorter legs, so a positive and a negative leg, them to each other, and we'll bend the other 2 out a bit, and then we can twist these legs together, and I'm going to try to twist them together neatly. I feel like I never really do anything neatly, but I try to. And then try to get them pretty close to the base, because we need to cut these legs off, and we need to make this work for us, so that it lies sort of perfect. Is maybe a little extreme, but something like that, where it's it's nice and neat, something like that. We use our helping hands, yeah. And then we're just going to put a bit of solder on our tip and float those 2 connections together, like so, just for a sec. We'll try to look carefully at them, because we want to cut this as short as possible, but we obviously want the solder that we just put down to still be there. And now we can bend the legs back, like so, and we have one longer and one shorter. Now we can come back over here. I'm going to see if I can actually use my helping hands to help me. All right, so now you can see they're in place, and I did a terrible job of soldering, but I don't know why. I'm having a horrible day, and I can't get my fingers in there, so it's going to have to do. That's just the way it is. Now that this pedal has a little bit of different clipping, and I hope it will sound good, we need to put this into the enclosure. So let's start by putting in the pedal. I have a hole right there, and we're just gonna put the pedal through, and first we just finger tight things down like so. You can't see, there it is, finger tight down. I'm always out of frame. And then on the inside here we have one jack, and it goes through to that hole right there, and it's a snug fit, but with just a washer we can make it fit like so. And then the same thing goes with these 2 wires for the pedal. We put them through like so, and then on the opposite side. So now we can put our washer and nut on like so. Now you might see that the LED there, it doesn't work for us, so we have to see if we can't unsolder it and pull it out. And sometimes it helps if you add a little bit of solder to the joint, so you can sort of heat it up and wiggle things loose. And then you just add jumper cable to the LED like so. Make sure you keep track of what is what, because otherwise it won't work. And we push that through there, and then we take this end here and we just cut this one back and sort of these 2 wires in place as well. There we have that wire, and now we need to make these wires here go all the way to that little jack that is in there. But you don't need to see that, right? You already know. You know that is where the back wire or the ground wire is going to go. And you know that, like there, that's where the red wire is going to go. You don't need to see that, right? I knew it. So there you have it. The cables go there and up in there. All right, so I have all of this, which, you know, like, look at this, it's a mess. But what it is it's a switch, 2 switches actually, but we're gonna remove one. and all of these wires. And we're gonna put this in here real quick, and then we're gonna wire it up. But before we wire it up, we're gonna put in another thing as well, and I'll show you how I wire this up. If you want to know what it is, this is, or at least it's supposed to be, a B switch that will with a twist to it, because it's also a effects loop. We have one more thing that I want to put in, just as a silly thing before we start wiring this up. So I have this pickguard here with some pickups, and on the back you can see there's still 2 pots, and I'm thinking that I'll put these in here, and I'll show you why in a second. But first I need to just cut a couple of wires to get everything free from here so that I can put it in there. Alright, so here we have it now, and I'm going to try to explain things. We have a switch right here, and that switch will put the effect on. So it will be, distortion on and distortion off, and it will light up that LED. Then here we will have a switch that will engage the loop here, or will not engage it. And then here we will have a switch, and that switch will select which one of these input jacks is in the switch. And the idea here is basically, maybe I want to fiddle around with pedals and have, let's say, 3 pedals, just to be funny. My distorted sound and my chorusy, floaty, ambient sound. Let's pretend that's what I'm going for. Then I can have one input here and one input here. One goes to the ambient thing and the other one goes to the distorted thing. And then maybe I'm just, sort of rocking here and the song is going well, and then I just want to, stack another overdrive. I just press here and the red one lights up and it's all good. And then I'm like, oh, I'm getting to the chorus and I need to start the chorus or whatever it is, my ambient thing. I just press here and it switches around. That's it. Okay, let's see here. Yes, these 2 controls here, just because the wires were kind of short, probably not the right way to do things. But anyway, these 2 will be the controls for the distortion, the Ross pedal that is in here. And it's just going to be, a fun thing. It's in there. And then here I have a volume and a tone. I think that's how I put them, yes. A volume and a tone from a guitar. And I'm going to wire them into this loop so that I can just put whatever I want and then just tweak them a little bit. So maybe I have an overdrive here and I have an overdrive here, and I just feel like, the volume switch when I press this is just too great. I can just back off the volume a little bit on that and just do it extra tweak. Because maybe I don't want to change the volume on the pedals, or maybe I can't change it because it's the fact that the pedals character will change if you change the volume. Sort of like if you think of a fuzz face, for example, if you roll the volume off, it sort of doesn't do much. It becomes kind of a weak pedal, but you still want to control the levels. So I'm thinking having a volume and a tone here that is just passive guitar parts that is in that chain will make it cool. Then I have a hole here, and I don't have anything to put in there. I was thinking that I would take apart and maybe put it in the pedal that I made out of a wah pedal. Maybe you saw the video. I had a wah that I didn't like, so I took out the circuits and put it in a new box and had basically a sweep pedal instead. I'll try to link everything below so that if anything sounds interesting and you want to go watch it, you can do that. But I'm thinking of maybe putting it there, but I'm also thinking maybe something else. I don't know. I'm gonna leave it for now, and we'll revisit this at some point when I know what I want to put there. Or I'll just plug up the hole and paint over it and make it look like it was never there. So let's turn this around, but before we do, we do this just because we want to be sane. We plug in our guitar, because it's going in here. Actually, we plug it in here because this is where the amp goes, and we don't have a jack there yet. So we know this side is the side that goes to the amp. So when we turn it around, we see it there. It's now on the opposite side. Okay, so we have this wire here. Needs to wire that up here, and we have a bunch of wires, and I'm gonna go through everything with you guys now, as I also connect some extra wires, just because I realize that some of you maybe want to know how to do this, but yeah, it's a little bit difficult when you have already done all the work and have to redo it to make it make sense. Hope that makes sense. Anyway, let's start with this jack. It needs to be screwed in there. As you probably can tell, it's a little bit too long. I'm gonna solder these 2 wires here, and then I'm gonna take this jack and I'm gonna put it through this hole here. We need this to be connected to this wire here instead. This is the switch for bypassing the effects loop or going into the pedal. And I've wired it up just like I've wired up other pedals before. So if you've seen any of my other pedals, this part here is not particularly new. There we go. Just hold it there for a bit and it doesn't get connected. There we go. And then this wire here, which is the opposite. The guitar comes in here, goes through this wire here. And I'm sorry that there's so many green wires, but it goes through here, this wire here, goes through here or into the effect, just depending on how you press it. But it goes here when it comes out of whatever it's going into. So we need to we need to strip this one back a little bit, and it comes out to this blue wire here, and these need to be connected. If I had thought about this maybe a little bit more, I might have not had the wire be that way, so that it would be one long wire instead of splicing in another one. But I don't think it will matter that much right now. So a little bit of solder on both of these wires. Don't forget to tuck this under here, and then we're just gonna see if we can solder them together, something like that. Cut off the X's so that it looks a little bit neater. There we have it. And I'll put a bit of tape on it later. We need to solder on a ground wire for this, twist it all around, and go over there. I don't really like splicing in wires, but I want to use up all the ones I have. Right, so here's one of the wires from the LED, and it has been yanked off, so I need to resolder it. And then I'm going to explain to you how the LED and the switching works. So, yeah, here it is. Okay, so here we have a switch, right? The jack wire comes along in here, and it either goes down here to here, and through this wire here, it goes into the pedal kit that we already have in it. But it can also go up here, to this wire here, which is a little bit hard to see, and that wire will go all the way around back here. And on this switch, you can either have this, it's 2 rows, so this is one switch and this is one switch. And on this switch, you can either go directly to this jack here, from the middle, or to this wire here and go directly to this jack here. On the opposite side here, I have the positive to the 2 LEDs. So it's the same as this one. The middle, this is where the power comes, and it will select which one you go to. And it's important that you have the same color LED as the jack you're going to. So the green LED is on this jack right here, and that one is there, so that's where the green goes. So it's on the same side. And the red one is there, and the red jack is there. In the middle, I have the power connected, and it goes over here to the middle of the switch here. So that when this one is pressed down, electricity here will come in from the jack. We need to do something about this wire that is hanging here, but it will be connected to the jack in a second. And it will be either connected to the middle here, and when it is, it will go to this switch, or it will be connected down here and not be connected to the switch. And that's how this switch turns on the LED, and this selects which LED. So I'm just gonna redo this wire, and it's just a wire going to the positive of the jack, just like I filmed before. Red wire here, I connected it over here with the help of this, with tape, basically. Maybe not the best, but I just couldn't find a wire that was long enough. Then I took the 2 black wires from the LEDs, the grounds, and I connected it over here as well. And now everything works. But before I show you, I just want to tell you, because this is funny. First, when I did all of this, I couldn't get it to work. And I had to go through everything, trying to figure out what I did wrong, because I was like, this doesn't make sense. Why doesn't it work? But then, over here, this capacitor had been knocked over towards the IC and was leaning up against it. And I think it happened when I did this sloppy work right here of the LED thing, the clipping diode. And I didn't notice it. But anyway, I just was sort of like, wait, that doesn't look good. I'm just going to move it back. And then everything works. So, if I plug in power here now, and we turn this over, we can turn on the effects with this here. The light starts up, and the effect starts. And if I press this, the effect loops is started up. And we're on this jack now, because that's the green. And if I press this, we switch over to the red, and that one is. So, it is all working, and we'll continue. Back to here, pull this out. The guitar is plugged in here. We have the amp here. That's the white cable from earlier, I hope you remember. And it goes to this switch, and it can go either into the effects loop or bypass. If it bypasses, it goes into this pedal, and here it either goes into the effect or it bypasses out here. Don't care about this right now, because that's, you know, if you build the kit, you can do whatever you want to. I'll try to link it below. But the effect loop isn't actually really connected. So when it comes up here, guitar, it can either go here and be connected to either of these 2 jacks. Then it comes out here to this jack here. That's the return. And that needs to be connected here, this, which is super simple. We just switch this out for a wire that's long enough to go over there. But I want these controls here to be in there as well, so that I can just affect the channel, the signal on the channel a little bit extra. We need this wire here. We need to strip that back. This is the in from the switch on a guitar. So if you have old guitar controls that you're going to reuse, just like me, you would just take that wire that comes off the switch. If you have to wire this up yourself, it's just another simple Stratocaster with the volume that is connected to the switch. But instead of the switch, it's going to be connected over here to the tip. So this wire goes into the pot. We can move the pot however we want to, and that's the volume. And this one will go back to the switch. But before that, we have this one that we need to connect over there. So let's strip this one back as well and see if we can't connect it. So we pre-tin the wire, hold it up to the same leg. It's a little fiddly, and there we go. Now we have this pot here in place, and all we need to do is to basically move the pot, and the signal that comes off here will be grounded through this capacitor, and it will make it all sound muddy, or whatever you call it. Then we have this wire here, it needs to go under here and be connected to this wire here, that is the return on this. Something like that. Now, you know, we shouldn't have things that can touch the metal enclosure. This is metal, even if it looks kind of like something else maybe. We need to put some tape over it, cover it up. I should have put a shrink tube over it, you know, a psychiatrist. Just a little bit like this. It doesn't have to be pretty. There's nothing else in here is pretty. Okay, I want to do one more thing before we're done. Well, we're not really done, but I'm going to take a little bit of tape, small pieces of tape from this bigger tape piece, and I'm going to just find places where I can maybe tape down these wires so that they are not rattling around in here. That one there, this one over here, pull these two wires down here, maybe a little bit there as well. It's actually mostly just so that I don't hear it when I move it around, because it's gonna drive me crazy. Something like that maybe. It's super simple, easy thing to do this, so if you feel like you watch this and you can't do it, I promise you can. It's basically just two more of the how to wire up a true bypass switch video that I've already made. It's just, it goes in here, and here you can either select if you want to go to this switch or that switch. I mean, it will go to that switch either way, but if it goes in here, true bypass to that, or it goes up and goes here, and then you just select. And you don't have to have this, you can have just one. It's just that I think that maybe it could be fun to be able to very quickly switch a lot of pedals. I know that this is maybe not big enough to be considered a lot of pedals. Okay, so I just test played this just to see how this is, and we have a problem. And the problem is this is way too loud to ever be usable. I basically have to keep it at somewhere around 9 o'clock. So what I'm going to experiment with, and we'll see if it works, I hope it will, is I'm going to take the out here and I'm going to cut it like so. And I'm going to see if I can't strip it back on both sides. Like so. And then I'm going to pre-tin these two wires. And then here I have a little trim pot with a ground wire added to it. And I'm just going to solder one leg to one of the outer legs. So, and then turn it around, and the middle leg will go to the other leg, the other wire. It doesn't really matter which one goes where, as long as you leave one ground wire loose, like so, which we can connect somewhere where there is ground. Maybe here on the pedal, for example. We'll see if that works. Something like that. I hope that's gonna work. And I'm gonna plug this in, and I'm gonna turn that around until I find a volume where bypassing it and turning it on is basically the same volume, just a little bit less. And I'm going to try to keep the volume control of this somewhere around 12 o'clock. I'm going to put on knobs real quick and just adjust them to be at roughly around 12 o'clock and adjust that. I'll be back once I've done that. It's just, you know, take a screwdriver and turn it around a bit. I put these knobs on, but they're just being able to mix this controller. I set it, the trim pot, so that basically having them somewhere around here, it's bypass and the pedal on basically sounds exactly the same. There's maybe a little bit of difference in the mids, but volume wise and the cleans in both of them are the same. And what's interesting is I can sort of change this around. Like if I move this over here and I push this back a little bit, I can sort of create a situation where pressing this down and starting the pedal will just introduce gain. It's like a very low, for lack of better words, transparent thing that is really pleasant. So I'm gonna find some knobs, put them on, and then we're gonna demo. I'm gonna see if I can find two pedals as well. Here it is right now, and I just want to show you. These controls are right there. I don't have any knobs, so I'm gonna have to get some new ones. I looked around in my bin and I had 100 knobs, but not a single one that worked, except for these two, obviously. These we'll fiddle with in a bit. So here is the bypass signal. Nothing is on. If I turn this on, the pedal is on. And when they're at 11 o'clock or something, both of them, it's like bypass. It's like the same. It's unity gain. There's basically no difference. But if I pull this up here somewhere maybe, and I pull this back a little bit more, and maybe put them like that, then all of a sudden I can create distortion that is nice, I think. Obviously that's just a pedal kit basically, but with, you know, a little mod. So this doesn't work. There's probably some very obvious solution that I'm missing at the moment, but I'm dying in the heat and this room is boiling. But if I press this, then you can see that these turns on. Everything works, but I can't have two circuits. If I go between them, as you can see, it doesn't work. So I'm gonna have to switch this out and only have one LED, and the other jack is gonna be for something else, I think. I'm gonna have to figure it out. Or I'm gonna have to come up with another circuit for this thing. But it's cool, I can have this on and add in a pedal or an effect loop. Okay, so it's not perfect, it's not done, we still have to do something about some things, but I don't know. We're moving in the right direction, it's getting better, it was one thing and it's become a better thing, so we're getting there. But anyway, if you liked the video, don't forget to press the like button. If you're new here, subscribe for more loudness.